Hello, my friends, and welcome to episode 6 of the Second Aid Show. And what we're going to be doing in today's video is going through a lot of interesting things, just presumably around the wrap of filming, which we'll get onto in a second, and some interesting things that have come out, as you can see from the title thumbnail, some interesting things around orcs as well, and some storylines around that. But as usual, joining me, first we have Kyle. Hello, my friend.
Thanks again for having me. I'm super excited for this one.
Yeah, indeed. And I'll leave in the description to his Twitter video that he did. He did a really excellent edit. I think that's already on like 30,000 views or something already, just of of the image that came out last week. And I think it was a really good one, wasn't it?
Oh, that
Thank
was
you.
beautiful. Great
Thanks,
work,
Mm-hmm.
guys.
honestly.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
you guys are too kind. I appreciate that.
So yeah, he's the man of the hour right now. But also, nonetheless, we have Lakitia as well.
Hello, hello. Glad to be back. Let's dig into the news.
Indeed, and I was thinking, so for the last second issue, I normally do some editing, and due to time wise, because I needed to get the video out last week, I had to cut out about 5-10 minutes of not far about 5 minutes of us talking about what we're gonna see next from Amazon. I wish I'd kept that in now because
Mm.
the next day we got the image from Amazon, and it's out of nowhere. But on that show, we did say that the filming has wrapped, and then coincidentally the next day. Um, the official statements did come out. No surprise there, to be honest. But yeah, hope that shows it continues to show that a lot of things that we say is legit, because it was not a coincidence that the day after the second aid show came out, Amazon wrapped filming. But but at least it's confirmed now, isn't it? Though, is that a good thing?
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. And it's really just so great to hear something back from Amazon.
Mhm.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
think we were all a bit blindsided. Like we knew based on what you had talked about that was happening, but I don't
Yeah.
think we expected to see what we saw.
Yeah, and just we won't get into the image too much, guys. I think that a lot from lots of other creators, or a lot of things have been going into that
Mm.
image. So, and we also did a video on that as well. So please go and check that out as well. But if you haven't already, but the main thing of today's video is getting into the new pieces of information, and we'll get onto the orcs bit in a bit. But firstly, I want to give some context. So, at um Kamui. Was that I got it wrong, didn't I? Kumu,
Kumyu.
Kumu. So we have at Kumu Film Studios. So this is the interesting thing. So we have 5 big sets there, which have been reported. The first one is that town square, which is on the Kumu showgrounds, which I have on screen right now. As you can see, this is the prime the Numenorean village town square. Then apparently we have a also Numenorean linked Queen's throne room. Also, inside probably the actual set itself, those white cylinder things that you can see on screen. And finally, we have, oh, of course, it's kind of speculated, but we also have, as you can see in the green screen, that's a green screen water tank. We have apparently there is a fully functioning ship set. Well, not fully functioning massive ship, but the set is used for ships. So we can presumably say Numenorean, but on Kumu Film Studios, this is the main filming spot for Amazon, and their biggest stuff is here. So that leaves 2 more unidentified massive sets and set pieces they have there. So that's interesting, isn't it? And also the next bit of information is that the Dwarven set with that mineshaft and everything is not actually on Kumu Film Studios, and is actually somewhere else. So what do you guys think that could leave them for the other 2 sets? It has to be something elven, right?
Well, first of all, this makes me wonder where are the Dwarven sets? Like, as far as we know, Kumyu has been the main studio so far. Have we even know there would be like another location for main indoor sets?
No, the only
Or
other location, as you can link to my video earlier this week, was this Auckland Film Studios. But what I've
mm,
reported, I've had updated pictures, and they're just taken down. The whole set's the whole that massive stage is being taken down. So yeah,
mm,
so apparently this dwarven bit is not actually on set. Then that again, that leaves 2 more.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's super interesting. It makes me wonder what they're doing with Casa Doom, right? Like that's got to be a big centerpiece of the show, I would imagine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, indeed. And I also find it really interesting that all the known sets so far, like in Kumyu, seem to be Numenorean. So maybe
Hmm.
these are just like the biggest ones there are, but there have got to be some huge elf-centered sets somewhere. So I suppose the other two could as well be like at least one of them from Austin Ethel in
Hmm.
Eregion, and maybe one from Linden. No
Yeah,
idea.
well, Lyndon was specifically mentioned in the synopsis, so
Yeah.
that's got to be the case
Mhm.
at the very least.
So
Yeah, it's
yeah.
got.
And the interesting thing that we could see is, I think in some of those pictures that Amazon released of filming, a lot of it was outdoors, wasn't it? And I think I can't remember off the top of my head. I'll get back to it in a second. But I remember one of them maybe showing a bit of an elf, like in a forest somewhere, which is interesting. But do you think there could be another one? So we got three sets. Those three sets I mentioned on screen. Maybe set a potential fourth one there, and then finally, do you think we could have like a the far reach of the map, that kind of thing, or put onto one set or something? I don't. Maybe Haradrim or something like that, or something maybe Khan based, because I know there's speculation if they will be in the show or not. But do you think that could be a possibility for one whole set for them?
Blue Wizards.
Oh, that. Ooh, ooh. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's an interesting one. Maybe
Mm.
I
there
think.
is. Yeah, go on.
Oh no, I was gonna say I think it is a possibility, but still, given that such a big chunk of what we know is gonna be, it's probably gonna be portrayed, like at least if they're really gonna tackle the forging in at least some form, there's gotta be some huge elven sets as well. So I'd say at least one of these must be like a really big elven town square as well, or maybe like I don't know the Guathimirta in their forges or something like that.
Yeah, it makes me wonder how much of the sets, like Fellowship mentioned, all of those photos they put out from the behind the scenes stuff were all outdoors, right? Like those weren't on set, so it'll be really interesting to see what they do.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, for sure, and I'm really looking forward to that. I think we talked about this in one of the previous shows. One of the strongest suits of Lord of the Rings trilogy was all the beautiful panoramic shots they
Yeah,
incorporated into the movies.
yeah,
So I think if Amazon does that in this show, it's gonna be like really a success. And we all know that New Zealand is really really beautiful, and it's not a coincidence that they decided to film there. So I think there's gonna be a lot of outdoor shots, but still yeah, I'm I know I'm pushing this a little bit, but I really, really want to see some really nice elven architecture as well, even in the form of maybe halls or just town squares and stuff like that. But in any case, like there haven't been so many Numenorean leaks.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
It does make it pretty clear that the emphasis on Numenor is quite substantial in the
yeah. I
But
feel the
leaks.
same way.
yeah, but maybe that can change this week, as I think this would be a good segue to move on to the new thing. So we've heard of a new it's a set piece, but it's on location set, and this is nothing got to do. Actually, we can't say nothing got to do with Numenorians, but maybe it doesn't seem Numenorian themed unless it's a port city. It doesn't really seem like it's anything elven, neither dwarven. So I think we'll get into that speculation in a second. But the new thing we heard is that there is, quote, another on location set is known as the, quote, village set. So on just by Amazon and all the crew members is known, oh, let's go to the village set. So this is what it's referred to as, which is set on a farm out in the New Zealand countryside. We don't know where. Even if I did, I probably wouldn't want to say it so people would go there. But just New Zealand countryside. Maybe like Kitty me might know maybe the best spots this could possibly be. And then, quote, there have been a lot of night shoots happening on the village set. Orcs are, and this is unconfirmed rumor, orcs are raiding the village during the night and they end up forcing the village leader to surrender. So that is the latest updates that we have from this now village set. And I think we can link. I'll let you guys take this away first, but I think soon when we get through this discussion, we can link some other stuff from other, like for example, character descriptions as well. But yeah, this is the latest
Yeah.
stuff. What do you guys think?
Well, my first thought here was that this has got to be a Quathurian village, and I can't really imagine any other culture being just like a subject to orc raids at this point.
Mm.
And it could have all sorts of implications. So this could just be a random village, like similar to the Rohan village we see attacked at the beginning of the Two Towers. Or it could potentially be a village some of the characters live in, like Kari from the leaked audition tapes, who is now rumored to be portrayed by Nazanin Boniadi. Well, that character was heavily speculated to belong to the Guathurim. So, and also such an attack could potentially lead the villagers to seek protection from the Numenoreans, I think, or it could even push them under Anatar's wing, hoping for protection. We still don't know when the show is going to be taking place, so it could be one or the other. But there was also another possibility that I thought of, and this could maybe also be like a Sylvan settlement, a Wood Elf settlement.
Ooh.
Yeah, so either in Greenwood or Lorinant, well, or Lorien, depending on when the show takes place. But assuming that there will be no major characters belonging to those groups of elves until Galadriel arrives, I'm more in favor of this being a Guathuit in place.
Yeah, I agree. It definitely fits the description of Nazanin's character's description.
Do you want me to jump in
Um,
here quickly and shall I read out the
yeah,
description? So it's
please do. Yeah.
a strong and independent woman, a self-sufficient single mother to a teenage boy. She's beautiful, proud, clever, and charming. She's also her village's healer, at times gentle but also at times fiery, especially when she feels wrongfully judged. She is torn between her son, her own people, and the man with whom she secretly loves, an outsider to the village who the rest of the community may never accept, but possibly also the only person in her world with whom she could find real and lasting happiness. So maybe I don't want to get into we don't want to speculate around the character description too much, but maybe the outsider of the village thing may lead to some interesting things. But yeah, take it away, Carl.
Yeah, I mean, to me that sounds like it fits perfectly. Unless it's a settlement of Numenor, Gondor or Arnor, but that might be pushing it a little bit. But
Mhm.
it's otherwise it certainly sounds like Dundelings, and we know
Yeah.
that they're hostile toward orcs, and we also know that they lived alongside the Stour hobbits, and I know that's the Third Age, but I'm sure that if Amazon can find a way to incorporate hobbits, they will.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That could be an interesting thought. That this might be maybe a Hobbit thing, but I
Mm,
doubt. I personally quite doubt that. But um, so yeah. But I think if we had to right now, um, we would, I think, safely put it maybe Guthrum, Dunlending, something around there, a village there which is being attacked. Do you
mm.
think that makes sense? Most likely scenario.
I think
I,
that totally makes sense, and it, it,
Mhm.
it ties into, some of the stuff that the Jackson trilogy did as well.
Yeah.
yeah, indeed. I like Kyle's theory, but I don't think there would be the hobbits involved in such a, I don't know, military capacity. I can't imagine, them
Mhm.
putting the hobbits in just to get attacked.
And
I don't know.
yeah, and the thing is that we know that pretty much there will most likely be orcs in the first season, even from the casting calls itself. It says, "I am now urgently needing to submit people for a production. Please read on. Do you have an overbite, face burns, long skinny limbs, deep
Hmm.
cheekbones, lines on your face, acne scars, ears that stick out, bulbous or interesting noses, small eyes, big eyes, skinny faces, missing bones? Do you look unusual?" That's the best line of the casting call. Do you look unusual? It was like he would and then it says
But
thank. It's then this was from Evelina, lead booker submitting talent for the Amazon. Actually, I won't. I'll block the. Actually, I don't think people would be emailing. We'll find the email anyways. 'Cause I don't want. I don't want this poor woman to just get emailed by 100 of just fans wanting to be on the show. But yeah, so that is the casting call. So we know definitely there is going to be orcs. Maybe something safe for dwarves, but missing bones, really, stuff like that. So do you think that?
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense
Hmm.
to me. And I know the synopsis indicated that it would begin in a time of relative peace, so I do wonder to what extent orcs. And,
Mm-hmm.
I know there has to be conflict, obviously, but I do wonder
Mm-hmm.
to what extent orcs will be involved.
Yeah, and I think it fits maybe quite well with that synopsis because it's a relative time and piece it said it starts in, and this is just it could seem just like just a village getting attacked by orcs, and that even happened even after I think not after like, even the ring was destroyed. Of course, there were still orcs. Of course, maybe not
Mm,
hiding in deep depths, but they were still doing that throughout the third ages and third age, etc. So maybe
yeah,
that's why it's
absolutely.
relative. Maybe we're going into the show and we're seeing these maybe whoever controlling these orcs, but maybe the orcs are acting alone. They're just taking just keep on continuously and the thing is, it's interesting. So first of all, we go back to that quote. There've been lots of night shoots happening on the village set, so it does seem like orcs, and then that they end up forcing the village leader to surrender. So that means it must be repetitive. So it isn't like so. It's like that's what I'm thinking. It might not be big scale because it seems like not like a personal grudge, but like they really want this specific village to be gone and
Mm.
and the interesting thing is that they end up forcing the village leader to surrender. So I don't get how that works necessarily. Would orcs let's what do you guys think about that part?
Maybe they're trying to recruit the villagers to, I don't know, maybe Sauron's army or something.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's very likely, but we know that the Gwathwyrim did end up under Sauron's
Yeah,
rule
Yeah.
at a time, so.
indeed, and I think it's a I think this is like the only not the only way, but I think that's an interesting way to see how they force this village leader to surrender. So yeah, that is I think just overall points from this is in. So we know that there is most likely going to be orcs in the show from the casting calls etc. Then we got these characters that have always referenced this village, um, and this while they being in a village. Now we've heard of a village set out in the countryside of New Zealand, and we're not sure where in New Zealand. Um, and then there we got these. They probably it sounds like grueling, and ooh, I've got an interesting thing. I've just come into my head right
Mm.
now. I remember Nazanin Boniadi in January 2020 put out a tweet saying that something about the I don't have it on me right now, but something about night shoots being grueling and you can't wait to see. Do you guys remember that tweet?
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
Yeah.
remember it. Yeah,
Us.
that's right.
These see this happens. It just putting all these links together, and I just come into my head right now. And up, but posted I put this tweet on screen, and maybe, and if she is potentially playing Kari, as according to Radiant Intelligence, which is why maybe that is why she's being on these night shoots because these orcs every night are raiding her village. Have
Yeah,
we?
that could tie in nicely. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. I agree. I also just had a thought.
Mm.
I wonder if this ties into Anthony Crum's character volunteering for the Numenorean army as well.
Ooh, and then the new, and
Oh,
then maybe.
possibly.
That's actually a good thought because maybe, um, the maybe is this could be a Numenorean port city. Maybe could that be a
Yeah, maybe.
possibility instead?
Possible.
Yeah,
It's possible.
Yeah.
because we know that just playing around with just the time periods. We know for a period after I think it was 3,100 to 3,300. I think a bit before
Mm.
that of the third age. We know Sauron. He went to the east and then slowly started attacking Numenorean villages, their port cities, and then in return, our Pharazôn gets angry at this and then comes
Mm.
and captures Sauron. So maybe, of course, if that's another, this is an alternate explanation. If the show is going to be set in the Calibeth part of the Silmarillion, I think. Do you think
Mm.
that could work like that as well? I know a lot of us, I would prefer maybe think that is going to be the forging period, or but do you think if it was set in that part of the show, that time period and those events could fit into this?
Yeah, I think it makes sense. I think
Hmm.
it could just like easily be what you just said. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm still personally really impressed with that link I made with that tweet. Maybe it might mean nothing, but um
No, that's
yeah,
super
Yeah.
interesting. I think
yeah.
that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, for sure.
And it just it's just a good like it doesn't confirm confirm it at all because, well, like, because shows are always going to do night shoots, but it's just interesting that now
Mm.
with a character description and all this and that, and
Yeah.
then putting it all together, it's starting to make sense. Like same um with the Numenorean set. A few weeks ago, those
Mm.
descriptions and which came from the set of the Numenorians and those vigils and the like the tongs, the hammer, and they've got these guilds as well that we talked about, the
Yeah.
personal bread makers guild, and then within like 10 minutes on Reddit we see that this because I didn't know beforehand because that it was actually I think it was in Unfinished Tales where it goes into great depth about it and kind of not it kind of confirms in the sense that this guy or guy or girl must be probably on set telling the truth to an extent because I didn't because we put this room out that room out prior to knowing that it was in Unfinished Tales. So like maybe we didn't take it as a bigger risk as I originally thought because then it comes up that it's in great detail. We know Amazon do have a lot more rights on that image. So yeah, I know that doesn't confirm stuff, but you can see just out with due to external influences how they have knock-on effects and work together in order to just confirm these things. If you understand what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, it certainly seems on the outside at least
Mhm.
to tie everything
Yeah.
together nicely. Yeah.
And it just like kind of confirms it in the sense that we did not know beforehand that it was an unfinished tales, and there's a massive description comes out about
Mm.
these guilds and things and whatever, and then that means Amazon that adds to the likelihood that Amazon are using these on set as other that is the design aesthetic on set. So yeah, mm-hmm.
Yeah, the more the better, I say.
Indeed. So just I think before we wrap up, I don't mind anyone just re-go over our thoughts around the village. So I'll repeat the quote. There have been a lot of night shoots happening on the village set. Orcs are raiding the village during the night, and they end up forcing the village leader to surrender. And then another on-location set is known as the village, and it is on a farm out in the New Zealand countryside. So yeah, that is I think those are the quotes. So Lucky TM member and Carlos are mentioning that Gothurum done endings. I think that's the best thing that we can come up with right now, right?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
Mhm.
just from like an immediate kind of glance, that's certainly what it looks and feels like.
Yeah, and this is kind of exciting at the same time that in the show we're going to be seeing these orc raids attacks on these villages, and interesting
Yeah.
how and the one thing interesting to me is how this fits into the story, because when it sounds like repeated just repeated attacks maybe in the show we'll see night upon night, and then I'm not sure if anyone here has watched Vikings. I'm not sure, but I
Yeah.
yeah, I remember in one of the seasons it was just that the village had to prepare for these raiders that will come in every night, and they'd have to keep on fighting back and back after raid, something like that. Maybe we'll be seeing that, but with orcs. But yeah,
Maybe, but I think like even if they're just shooting one particular attack, it would take them a lot of nights.
yeah,
So I don't think this necessarily signifies that it's a repeated attack by the orcs. I
Yeah.
think it's just like a one-time thing.
but yeah, that could be true. But then at the same time, they end up forcing the village leader to surrender like that.
Yeah,
End
after a
up,
really
yeah.
long, grueling night.
Yeah, cool.
But
That
Mm.
yeah,
you could easily be right,
yeah.
of course.
That actually that's fair enough. Yeah, that could is however that's just two possible scenarios unless it's repetitive or it just happens in one long night. But maybe we have found out what potentially Nazanin Boniadi was filming around January this year. So yeah, I think that's about it, guys. Do you think we've covered everything?
Yep,
Mhm.
Yeah, sounds good.
thanks.
Yeah,
Yep.
and
So,
Really cool stuff.
yeah, it is, and it's really it's good to like go back not to reality. I know with that image, I'm really not sure if it's Tyrion that sent people crazy right now. First stage that, and maybe it. Oh, well, yeah, the trees. In fact, before that, and I did my video on maybe the Halcaraxi and how that could fit in, tie
Mm.
in quite well. But I think maybe this would say, hey guys, this is a second age show at the same time.
Mm.
And maybe this is maybe not what Amazon really wanted. They wanted to carry on
Mm.
this oh, he is the tree's first stage stuff. But so yeah, this shows
It's
that
interesting.
yeah, we will be seeing other stuff like that in this show as well, and it's going showing that how big the show's going to be. 1 minute we might be seeing Tyrion and we'll be seeing flashbacks there, and then the next minute we're going to be in probably some quite just village, and I was getting attacked by orcs, maybe Dunlending or Guathurum village. It just shows the range and variety that we could see in this show.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
certainly seems to fit with the the wide ranging sweeps of the synopsis.
Indeed. So, I think I think we've covered everything quite well, and I know before we wrap up, I forgot to do this for the last few episodes, but we'll be talking about it next week. And we have some so in next week's episode we have some quite interesting. I know people have been asking me a lot. You said earlier this year that Amazon will be filming back to back season 1, season 2. How come that's not come to pass? And what's the updates with season 2? Everything around that. And yeah, so yeah, we'll be covering everything, all the updates around that on the next week's show. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. But first of all, I think we've done quite a good job today. Thank you, Kyle.
Thanks again for having me. Always a pleasure to chat with both of you.
Indeed. And also again, go check out that video that he did. I wish I could play it on screen, but it would get copyright. I think it
Mhm.
would just get taken
Yeah.
down quite quickly, unfortunately. But still, do check it out. And also, we have thank you to Lakitia for coming on as usual.
Hey, this was lots of fun as always, so thanks for having me.
Indeed. And I think another thing that I forgot to mention that it's good that we're away from Numenor for a bit, and because maybe for a few weeks there was lots of Numenor stuff coming out, probably due to the chances of like having information from that side. But it's nice to know that there is not everything's Numenorean. I'm not sure if you two are getting quite bored of just hearing these Numenorean things every week. So yeah, this is
I was I don't think I wasn't getting bored, but it
yeah,
certainly felt like Numenor. We were gonna have a Numenor show, is what it
yeah.
felt
Yeah,
like. Yeah.
exactly. I'm excited to hear all this stuff, but I would be really, really excited to get some more like tidbits about what the elves will be up to and
Yeah.
stuff
Yeah.
like that. So,
Yeah.
So we've covered so far the Numenorians, we've covered the dwarves in leaks, we've covered the subsections of men of the Guathurim and maybe the Dunlendings. Maybe we've covered the orcs now as well due to the
and
Blue
then
Wizards.
village.
Amazon, and then Amazon jumped in
Yeah,
and released a
yeah,
Yeah.
gorgeous
Amazon.
elven
Yeah.
picture.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and then now we've got Tyrion and and potentially and the two
Hmm.
trees, and then yeah, so that's everything we've got. But the one thing we still don't have is anything, not anything, but stuff around the elves. I have so yeah,
Yeah. That's so
hmm
interesting.
and elves and elven stuff. So hopefully, fingers crossed, maybe down the line we might have a few more stuff for that. But if it is, and I have made at the same time, if it is too much of a spoiler, as much as I would like to release it, I would not, because of course it's fun going through this stuff like that. But if it gets to like a big massive leak, then it would ruin it at the same time. If you understand what I mean.
Sure.
Yeah, so I don't want to ruin the experience for people at the same time. That's why I don't want to like release massive stuff. But um I think that's about it. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. Please like and subscribe. But until the next video, my friends, goodbye.